In the spring of 2020, the government launched the Canada Emergency Response Benefit, or Cerb, aimed at helping people who had lost their jobs due to the pandemic. But now, over 2 years later, many Canadians are being told that they need to pay that money back. Joining us now with more is Peter Sishecki from Everything Financial. Peter, good morning. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Nice to see you, Carrie.
Yeah, just go back 2 years ago, more than 2 years ago, when this money was handed out to people. It was a very uncertain time for a lot of people. They saw it as a lifeline.
They did. It turns out, though, a lot of people shouldn't have been applying for the Cerb, weren't really eligible, but they were still getting the checks. And now the government and CRA has literally come calling in the form of emails in many cases. And if you didn't qualify but you accepted the Cerb, it's now time to pay it back.
I think at the time, though, people were, we didn't really know what was going on. A lot of people maybe weren't working, their offices were shut down, they weren't making income. So they saw that money and, maybe a lot of people didn't know if they were eligible or not at the time. So they just went for it because it was being offered.
They did. And it wasn't communicated properly, but there was a lot going on back in March of 2020. But a lot of it is, and this is what's coming out, a lot of it is people who were working, they had good jobs, and they decided, oh, look, the government's going to pay us. I'll take the summer off and I'll play beach volleyball or whatever. And that's the ones who are having the problem, really, more so than the people who didn't have a job. Their jobs were completely gone and they really needed some government help to get things going again because we didn't know. Uncertainty, we didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah.
But this is the people who had jobs, and those are the ones who are getting caught up in this payback. And they should, because they didn't deserve the money and didn't qualify in the first place.
Okay, so how did the CRA identify the people that shouldn't have taken it at the time?
Your tax returns. You had to make under $5,000. And I know of a case yesterday we found out about someone who was a longshoreman making six figures, but young person who just decided, I'm not going to work, I'm going to phone in and take the summer off, applied for Cerb, and you were able to apply for it. And there was some holes in the system, and you were still able to get the money. And then all of a sudden you start filing your income tax, and they see what your other income is. It gets linked eventually to the Cerb payments, and suddenly CRA says, you owe us this much money back.
Yeah, we're hearing a lot of different stories and things that I've been reading online, and people who applied for EI and then they automatically got bumped onto Cerb, and if they didn't want it, so now they have to pay that back. So yeah, some holes in the system for sure. Insolvency in Canada has increased by almost 25%. Has that been connected at all to paying back the Cerb?
Not really.
Okay.
The insolvency in Canada is more about, and going down this road, but it's about economic policies in Canada. Our economy is not robust and booming like some people think it is. It's actually quite low. And COVID, closing down of businesses, especially small businesses, because we know, we've talked about this, you and I, lots. Those are the businesses that were really hurt. Those people are the ones who are being stung, and that's where the insolvency is really coming from in bankruptcies, not so much the Cerb payback.
What if the balance is not paid? What happens?
They keep going after you, and guess what? You're going to be filing taxes. If you have income, they're going to get it from you because they can go in and go after your income, go after if you have a job right now. We know of a few cases where that's happening, where they'll go after you and they can go after your bank accounts, your income.
Yes,
slowly. The best thing to do, though, with CRA is call them, negotiate, set up a payment plan. As long as you set up a payment plan and you're showing a good faith effort to pay them, just like if your taxes are due, you call them, they are very accommodating. They will work with you and work out a schedule to pay them back. Just make an effort to be paying them back. That's what you need to do.
Don't avoid them. Call them. If you can get through, I'm sure they'll be very busy, especially after coming up with tax season and now this. I'm sure
you can't avoid them.
No, you can't. Wait on hold as long as you have to.
Yeah, that's actually what you do.
Peter Sishecki with Everything Financial. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thanks, Carrie.
All right.